But good afternoon, Advocate Mkalipi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. I must say as a start, society has justifiably shifted its focus on the Stilfontein case to the children that are among those resurfacing from underground. Firstly, your reaction to this?
Well, these workers or these people that are underground, in terms of the law, our law says nobody is allowed to employ children who are less than 15 years of age, or children who are less than the age that is regulated by the Education Act, which is 16. Mm-hmm. And in this case, the big problem is that although these are children, the issue for employment law is who is the employer? Are they employed? Or is it an issue of these guys being kidnapped or forced to work? But the most important thing for employment law, if we need to enforce the law, will be who is the employer, who's employed this person.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and it's not an easy situation that we're in terms of this.
Mm-hmm. Because we've had a child as young as 14 resurfacing, and some say the resurfacing of these children gives credence to the version that some of these people were in fact abducted, because even some grown men have said they themselves were found on the side of the road with placards just looking for general work, only to be taken underground at gunpoint. So what exactly becomes the process now with the children? They have been detained, but what exactly would happen now? Because we saw that social development has committed that at least they'll ensure that they're safe.
As I've said, I mean, it seems this is more a criminal issue. As you say, these people have been, children have been abducted, they are held at gunpoint, and all of those issues. And therefore, it's the responsibility of the police to make up a case and also catch the people who have abducted them. Then the next issue is that social development will have to do its part and ensure that the children are placed in a safe place, they are looked after, and the parents are informed so that they can be put back to their parents as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. You say the point of departure here essentially would be to ask the question of who is the employer. How does one go about doing that, at least where it concerns the Labour Department? How do you go about doing this, and how long would it take to establish who is the employer in this situation?
In this case, remember, the people who are said to have held these people at ransom are still underground, and we don't know their side of the story. And some of them are said to be families, uncles of these children who brought these children from wherever they're coming from outside South Africa. Now, it's clear that when we talk to the children need to give an indication whether they were employed, were they getting paid, because this is about forced labor also. Are they being forced to work at gunpoint? They are not getting paid. There's nobody who's employing them. And those are the major problems that need to come up. But we can only work with the information that we receive from the children themselves and the people that are said to be, they were employing them. Mm-hmm. But the first part will be the criminal element of this, of child trafficking, of adoption, of kidnapping, holding people at gunpoint. That's the first prize.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those above age, perhaps those from 17 to 19, if indeed they are employed, one then brings up the question of the conditions of employment, because most certainly to take people underground under such conditions where there's poor ventilation, no food to speak of, certainly this is also worrying.
All of those issues are issues that will have to be considered. As I've said, the first issue will have to decide and make up the judgment whether were they employed. Were they really employed? It could be. We can't make that judgment without having all the information. And even if they're 17, remember the law says if they're 17, 18 children, you cannot allow them to work in situations that are dangerous to them. Mm-hmm. Underground, there's no doubt that under the conditions that they were in, they were not supposed to be there, because those conditions, even if it's a genuine employment, are not made for children of that age.
Mm-hmm. But how rife is child labor in South Africa?
Well, I mean, in terms of the reports that we've had, we've never had a report of child labor in the mines. many of incidents of child labor take place in domestics, in the farming situation. It's not as wide as in other countries, but there is child labor taking place in the domestic sector and in the farming community that have been found, cases that were found of child labor working.
And what becomes the sanction for those who employ children?
Well, employing children is a criminal offense. And therefore, if we catch someone who's employing children, remember, not all children are prevented from working, because in your Sophie Show generation, there could be a scene that show children. Therefore, children even at lower than 18 age are allowed to work under those environments under supervision. But if a person employs a child that is not supposed to work, that's a criminal offense. We refer it to the police, and the police take it further from there.
Can you see me?
And the NPA will decide to know.
Advocate, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's Advocate Thembinkosi Mkalipi. He's a Deputy Director General in the Department of Labour, just speaking to us following the resurfacing of at least 96 children from the Stilfontein Mine. This has become quite a topical aspect of what we're seeing taking place in Stilfontein. Very worrying indeed that a number of children have been found to be working underground.